Monday Night Raw kicks off with the never-before-seen 17, John Cena making his way to the ring for the final time on a Monday Night Raw in Madison Square Garden. The fans knew it, he knew it, you could tell he was getting a little bit emotional. The fans were singing his song, it was an amazing sight. I noticed instead of throwing his towel out into the audience, out into the crowd, like he usually does before running to the ring, he kind of just placed it beside him. He made his final run, so that was kind of cool. John Cena gets into the ring and he's about to thank the fans, thank the audience, do things like that. He doesn't say much before he's interrupted by Dominic Mysterio. Dominic Mysterio gets right in his face and basically says, bro, you beat me in Boston, your hometown, for the Intercontinental Championship. Now I want it on my turf. I want to face you for the Intercontinental Championship. John Cena says, okay, you know what? Survivor Series. So we get Survivor Series, John Cena versus Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship, and as we all know, that'll be his second last appearance. Guys, the time is winding down. Shortly after this happens, we get the rest of the Judgment Day out to the ring. They look to put the beats to John Cena. We have JD McDonough, we have Finn Balor, we have Dominic Mysterio. They start beating up John Cena, but who runs in for the save? It's Papa Ray. Rey Mysterio makes his way down to the ring with Sheamus, who I wanted to win the Last Time Is Now tournament, but I actually found out, I'm recording this on Friday, I actually just found out that Sheamus is out of the tournament because of a shoulder injury. That sucks. Anywho, they run down, make the save. We get a 6-man tag match made, and this match was phenomenal. It felt like a greatest hits match. There was a point we got Judgment Day up on the apron, and they hit the Sheamus' signature, the 10 beats of the Balrun, I believe it's called. So they were all doing that in stereo. They got the dudes back in the ring. John Cena, there's a really nice spot where John Cena got hit with a moonsault by JD McDonough. He got hit with the coup de grace by Finn Balor, and then he got hit with a frog splash by Dominic Mysterio. I was gonna say Rey Mysterio. Gets hit with a frog splash by Dominic Mysterio. They all pile up John Cena, which I don't know how that was illegal. Ref counted. Sheamus and Rey Mysterio run in. They break it up. The match continues. As I was saying earlier, there was a really nice spot with the 5-knuckle shuffle. Rey was gonna do the 5-knuckle, John Cena was gonna do the 5-knuckle, and Sheamus was gonna do the 5-knuckle shuffle. But the way they had this kind of orientated, is that even a fucking word? The way they had this set up, John Cena was on, I believe it was either the left or the right. Sheamus noticing this, he stepped aside, put John Cena in the center. They did it, they hit their finishes. John Cena hits an attitude adjustment on JD McDonough, and that's a nice piece of trivia for you guys. If anybody asks you who was the final person that John Cena pinned on his last Monday Night Raw appearance, you could go ahead and say JD McDonough. JD McDonough is in the history books, and that's pretty cool. Backstage, we got Paul Heyman interrupting Adam Pearce, and he basically hands him his last pick for the War Games matchup. He says, hey, if me picking Drew McIntyre pissed you off, wait till you see who I have in mind. I had a feeling I knew who it was. They open it up, and they kind of look at each other. They weren't too happy with what the hell happened here. Stephanie Bakura, she's on the way. She's making her way to the ring. She's gonna get an interview by, what was her name? Who was gonna interview Stephanie Bakura? I'll find it. I'll put it up here. I see her in my mind, but I don't have her name in my head. Anyway, before she could get to the ring, she gets jumped by Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella's basically putting her on notice, reminding Stephanie Bakura that this is Nikki's division and Stephanie is holding Nikki's championship. So later on, we got that made official for Survivor Series. We will have Nikki Bella versus Stephanie Bakura for the World's Championship. Next, we get a Last Time Is Now tournament match. We get Solo Sikoa versus a mystery opponent. And who shows up? Dolph Ziggler. And as Dolph Ziggler was making his way to the ring, this is what I am talking about. Hats off to you, Wade Barrett. Shout out to you, salute. He immediately reminded the fans that Dolph Ziggler was former two-time World Heavyweight Champion. So if you are new to WWE, or if you're a more casual fan and you're like, oh, well, who the hell is this? Now you know he's a former World Heavyweight Champion, 2 times. Versus what they did to Zack Ryder on Raw, pretty much saying that his biggest accomplishment was having a match with Michael Cole and you shouldn't take him seriously because he plays with toys on his off time. I find that kind of weird. The match happens. Dolph Ziggler hits Solo Sikoa with, not an attitude adjustment, STF, almost paying tribute to John Cena. He hits him with the STF. He hits the super kick. There's a close call. Solo Sikoa gets up. He basically he hits Dolph Ziggler with a spike. 1, 2, 3. Obviously, the match was a little bit longer than that. I'm kind of just condensing it to the things that I found were cool. Solo Sikoa wins, which, by the way, I think was the right move. I see a lot of people saying because Dolph Ziggler lost, because Zack Ryder lost, they got buried. Not every time you count the lights does that mean you're getting buried. We gotta stop with that, man. This is a primetime match. This was in the John Cena tournament. There are a lot of people who would have liked that spot. The camera pans to the fans and we see Little Yachty. He pulls out a PSP with SmackDown vs. Raw, I believe 2005 or 2006. That was pretty cool. I remember those days. The PSP was ahead of its time. It did get killed by the iPhone App Store. And if memory serves me right, ironically, the memory for the system was expensive as hell. Was that the PSP or was that the PS Vita? I don't even remember, but shout out to the PSP, shout out to Little Yachty. After that, we get Alexa Bliss in the ring, and she's cutting a promo essentially saying that Charlotte has been ignoring her, she's been ignoring calls, she's been ignoring text, and she was just cooking. She said, she was telling the fans that she wanted to give a chance to Charlotte when everybody else told her not to. What I didn't really like about this was the what chants, because you could tell Alexa was just cooking. She was even like disregarding the what chant. She kind of responded to 1 or 2, but her flow was amazing. She actually is a really good promo, and I don't appreciate these what chants. We gotta leave this behind, man. It's big 2025 now. Let these people go out and cut their promos. We don't need the what chants after every word. Leave that in 2003 with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Come on, man. After that, she cuts her promo. Let's see here. Lash legend Nia Jax and the Kabuki Warriors interrupt her and they kind of circle her like sharks. She's gonna get the jump on them. So what happens next? Rhea Ripley, Io Sky come out. They're still outnumbered. So who shows up? Charlotte. There she is, protecting her bestie. Kendo stick in hand, she gives it to Lash. She gives it to Nia Jax. The heels go running. There's a moment where Charlotte picks Alexa up and they're kind of just looking over at Rhea and Io Sky. And Io just goes over to Rhea Ripley and she just gives her like this big hug. I'm not gonna lie, there's no other word to describe this. It was very cute. It was very nice. The camera panned back to Charlotte. Even Charlotte had to laugh. People are saying Charlotte's breaking her character, but I don't think she was. Charlotte's pretty much a babyface right now, so I think it was in line with character. But you know it wasn't a part of that was like a genuine smile, a genuine check these guys out kind of thing, and it was really nice. After this, we got Becky Lynch versus Maxine Dupree for the Intercontinental Championship, and the first thing that went through my mind was, again, like, I don't know if I'm just drawing a blank, but I feel like these guys have touched and they've had a lot of kind of Intercontinental matches. I could be wrong, but I feel like I've seen them go at it for quite some time now. And so as they were making their way to the ring, I was thinking to myself, this match makes no sense if Maxine Dupree doesn't walk out with the championship. So Maxine Dupree wins. They go ahead, they have their match. It wasn't all that long, 5, 6, maybe even 7 minutes. They do their thing, but the big part of this match is when AJ Lee's music hits. And as AJ Lee was walking to the ring, I'm like, okay, new champion for sure. She causes a distraction. She turns around into an off the top rope crossbody. 1, 2, 3, Maxine Dupree is your brand new Intercontinental Champion. Good match. I will say I'm not a fan of the finish. To have Becky Lynch lose to an off the top rope just crossbody, it was basically a transition move. If I had to nitpick, I would have had Maxine just roll her up, 1, 2, 3, caught her off guard. The top crossbody thing was a little bit weak, but I can't complain because She did win the Intercontinental Championship, and this adds a new wrinkle should they continue their program. On to the next. We got Javon Evans versus Gunther. I knew Javon Evans wasn't beating no goddamn Gunther. This is the first time we saw Gunther since I believe SummerSlam, they said. Javon Evans, though, I really wasn't a fan when I first started watching him. I'm not really the biggest NXT guy. I think I seen Javon Evans work when he had like his mouth wired shut and he was facing Ethan Page. I wasn't really a big fan of that, but he won me over. The whole bouncy thing, this dude can work. He's flying over the top rope. He's flying over the damn apron. This dude is bouncy. As he says, he kicked out of a Gunther powerbomb, and I was like, is he gonna win? But no, Gunther locks him up in the sleeper hole, puts Javon Evans to sleep. He taps out. He has to tap out. I don't mind him not passing out. Not everybody needs to pass out. This is Javon Evans versus big Gunther. It's fine. Gunther advances in the My Time Is Now tournament. Backstage, we got AJ Lee and Maxine Dupree having a quick little interview. Maxine Dupree says, yeah, you know, she's happy and she thanks AJ Lee. AJ Lee immediately puts it back on her, which I like. Giggy. AJ Lee says, no, don't thank me. That was all you. Who interrupts their interview? Rhea Ripley. She's speaking to AJ Lee now, and she says, hey, come here. I just kind of want to talk to you. And they walk off. So, AJ Lee, I feel, will be a part of the War Games match, which I called a little bit earlier, not to toot my own horn or anything, but your boy knows a little bit of something about something. Next, we get the Vision and Drew McIntyre headed to the ring. Paul Heyman hypes his squad up. He basically says this is the greatest team of War Games ever assembled. The greatest team to enter War Games, which I kind of found funny because it's like you do know you're going up against, in this match alone, the World Heavyweight Champion and the WWE Champion. But you know how Paul Heyman is. If there's one thing he's going to do, it's put his people over. They make their way to the ring. Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, they make their way to the ring. The brawl starts. The Usos come out. Which is all good, all fine and dandy. They're fighting, they're doing their thing, and whose music hits? Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar was the man who Paul Heyman was talking about earlier, who's gonna piss off Nick Aldis. Brock Lesnar makes his way to the ring, and he delivers one of the cleanest suplexes I have ever seen in my life. That first suplex that he did to Cody Rhodes, chef's kiss. That's probably one of my 10 most beautiful moves I've ever seen done. If you get the chance, watch it on Netflix. Look at the first suplex Cody Rhodes takes. It almost looked like it was in slow motion. It was gorgeous. Brock Lesnar basically cleans house. You see the little stamp logo at the bottom. Raw goes off air. Or so you think, because Roman Reigns' theme song hits. He makes his 90th return of the year. He walks down to the ring. He has a sleeve on. I believe it was covering his tattoos. He gets into the ring. Superman punch to Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar scurries. Roman Reigns is left standing in the middle of the ring. And that was Monday Night Raw. It was action-packed. And for the people who say this is one of the best Raws they've ever seen, I agree. It was a nice, fun watch from start to finish. You had surprise returns, you had title changes, you had storylines advancing. What more could you ask for on this episode of Raw? Besides Chelsea Green, of course. But she did her thing. She did her thing at Gold Rush. So, you know what? I ain't mad at it. Monday Night Raw. I'll see you guys for the next one. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments. Peace.